Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Now many of you asked me to make a video on part payment of debt on the rule in Pinnel's case. So this is a very short video that's principally explaining the principle of part payment of debt. In other words, I'm supposed to pay you back $1,000 and then I give you instead $700. Does that exclude me from full liability? So this video is a very short video and it's really on the Pinnel's case, and I'm not going so much into the Pinnel's case because you're not lawyers. I'm mainly talking about the principles and the exceptions to the rule in Pinnel's case. I also want you to know that Pinnel's case and the rule in Pinnel's case all fall under the topic of consideration, which is another video many of you asked me to do. So I'm going to do two videos, one on consideration and this one on part payment of debt. So what is the rule in Pinnel's case? The rule in Pinnel's case is really saying that if a debtor pays part of a debt on the due date of payment and the creditor promises to forget about the balance, the law says that the creditor cannot be forced to fulfill that word, to hold themselves to that word, because part payment of a debt of a banja is not full payment of the whole. In other words, let's assume that you are supposed to pay back $1,000 on a particular date. The law says that if you come with $700, generally speaking, that doesn't exclude you from the balance of $300. You have to pay full payment. So the rule in Pinnel's case says that part payment of a debt is not full payment of the whole. You cannot hold the creditor to their word to say that yes, you allow me to pay half when I brought the half, so you should not force me to pay the full. No. The law says that part payment is not full payment of the whole. And why is this so? Because you who has paid the half, you've not given any consideration for the debtor to forgive you the balance which you should have paid. Remember, consideration is what enables you to enforce a contract. So you cannot enforce the contract because you didn't give any consideration to be able to be allowed to forego the balance. So understand it today that the rule in Pinnel's case says part payment of a banja of a debt does not meet the full payment. In other words, if I tell you that yes, you can give me half today and I forget about it and I change my mind, I'm allowed to come back and ask you to pay my full money because part payment is not completion of the full payment. So what are we saying the rule in Pinnel's case is? The example is that if I, the debtor, I borrow $1,000 from you, the creditor, and the debt I'm supposed to pay back, the $1,000 is today. So I come and I inform you that I can only afford to pay $700. You feel sorry for me and promise to forget about the balance of $300 and you take the $700 in full settlement of that debt. The law says that I'm still responsible to pay back the money and I'm still liable to you for the $300, even though you said it was okay. So should you change your mind, I'm bound to pay the balance in full because part payment is not full payment of the whole. So in Pinnel's case, really, it was said that payment of a lesser sum on the day in satisfaction of a greater is not by any way a satisfaction for the whole, because the judges thought that there is no possibility in which a lesser sum can be a satisfaction to the plaintiff of the greater sum. So this slide really is the meaning or the sum of the rule in Pinnel's case. So there are four main exceptions to the rule in Pinnel's case, the main exceptions that we look at under business law. And the first one is in a situation whereby I'm supposed to pay you $1,000 today on Saturday at noon, but you tell me that instead of me bringing it on Saturday at noon, I come on Friday and bring it on Friday and you'll accept $600. So in this case where you pay a lesser sum on a different date or an earlier date at the request of the creditor, the law says that that will be payment of a full sum. Why? Because me, the debtor, I have gone out of my way to look for the money much earlier than I should have, and therefore in that process I'm deemed to have furnished consideration to be able to enforce your promise of saying that my payment of half meets the full. So in a situation whereby the creditor asks the debtor to pay money pay back the money on an earlier date if the debtor brings a less sum than what was agreed and it is on the request of the creditor or the person who's owed the money. The law says that the payment of part payment, the half payment, is full solving. It solves the whole problem because someone has gone out of their way to go an extra mile to facilitate you, the creditor who has asked. So the second exception is in an instance whereby the creditor agrees, we agreed originally that I'm supposed to pay you back your $1,000 on Saturday at Nakawa. And before I come, you call me and say, no, don't come to Nakawa, bring the money to Mpigi. Because I'm going to go out of my way in car time, transport, and bring the money to Mpigi. When you accept a lesser sum in Mpigi, the law says that satisfies the whole debt. Because I furnished consideration in the way of foregoing and going through extra costs and extra time to be able to bring the money to a different location. So part payment to a different location on the request of the creditor satisfies the full amount. So in an instance where a debtor offers something other than money, in that case, even if it's of less value, that part payment or that less value will be a satisfaction of the whole. For example, whereby we agree I'm supposed to give you back $1,000, but then instead you say I can give you my phone. If my phone is valued maybe at $300, the law says that you cannot ask me for the $700. My exchange of the phone is full and final settlement of the debt because I've given you something that is different from cash. So where there is a non-cash transaction, that is deemed to be sufficient consideration. Because remember, under the rules of consideration, consideration need not be adequate. It just has to be sufficient. So this is the last exception to the exception in Pinnel's case, where part payment is deemed to be full payment. And this is in instances where a third party pays for you. So if your father, for example, takes the payment for you to your debtor and pays half, and the creditor says that, it is okay, the half is okay, the law cannot allow the creditor to turn around and pretend, because the law cannot defraud the father. So a third party cannot be defrauded in this case. So where part payment is done by a third party, and that is what is paid is less than the full amount, the law says that the third party payment is deemed to be a full payment because the law will not defraud a third party.